Let's take a look at part 2 of Tier 4, which is kind of the list of guys that used to be great for the most part. I mean, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, and I truly mean it. Cooper Kupp, great, like fantasy royalty.
Right.
And now
Chris
Matthew,
Olave.
it's Cris Olave, and now it's what can we get out of them? And then you have the questions around Juwan Jennings' health, Jerry Jeudy's quarterback situation, Jordan Addison's suspension, and Khalil Shakir's health.
See, I think Jordan Addison is actually kind of none of these guys should be, however many wide receiver you start, none of them should be starters unless you're in a a 12-team league, 3 wide receivers. So maybe one of these guys you can get by with as a wide receiver 3 and hope if you've gone heavy wide, you went quarterback early, tight end early, went running back heavy. But generally speaking, these are all guys that have some warts, which is why they're down here at the bottom half of Tier 4, but also there's some upside. We could, if Cris Olave stays healthy, this is a guy who, during his healthy games of his career, has over 25% target share, right? We've seen Stephon Diggs, who, last year, Diggs was like a top 16 wide receiver on a points per game basis before getting hurt. So how healthy is Diggs? We've talked about Jennings, we don't know, but Deebo Samuel, he's a perfect fit for how Kingsbury uses his offense, a lot of screen passes, a lot of motion as well. And so Khalil Shakir, when you think about his final 13 games, including the playoffs, he had at least 6 targets. So there's a scenario where he's the number 1 target for Josh Allen. But again, a lot of competition for him. Deebo, he's clearly the number 2. Jennings, we just don't know the answer to. Can Olave and Diggs stay healthy here? Addison does have the 3-game suspension. Cooper Kupp, amazing new change of scenery, maybe that helps, but also, Jay, he was brutal at the end of last year.
He was. I like Kupp a lot, though, relative to where he's going, just because, Geno Smith in Seattle last year threw the ball 578 times. Okay, so bring that down, so they throw it 100 less times somehow, and they're more run-heavy. Where are the 500 targets going? Right. Give JSN 150 targets. There's still a lot of targets in that offense. They're going to play a lot of bunch formation, I think, where, both guys are close to the line of scrimmage. So I think Kupp, the health is the question, but I think there's still upside in Kupp.
All right, let's close it out with Tier 5 here, trying to get some value on the bargain rack. Josh Downs, Jaden Reed, who's currently injured, as is Chris Godwin, Rashid Shaheed, Michael Pittman, Keon Coleman, Darnell Mooney. Once again, these are a lot of guys that are coming into the season banged up. Brandon Ayuk falls into that category as well, Matthew. And then Keenan Allen trying to give it one more big go-around with his Chargers.
Yeah, he's the end of Tier 5, Keenan Allen here. But these are all guys. I do think Josh Downs is really interesting, especially as long as Daniel Jones is the quarterback. Prior to getting injured, Rashid Shaheed was a top 30 wide receiver on a points per game basis. Again, especially if you're in a league with an IR spot, I don't mind drafting Godwin or even Darnell Mooney or Ayuk at this stage, because you're not counting on them, and so you can just stash them. They're not costing you a roster spot, and when they come back, hopefully there's some production there.
Yeah, I don't go into any drafts specifically targeting Brandon Ayuk, but I find them just winding up with him a lot, because it's there's a chance.
Nobody wants to touch him.
Yeah. No one wants to deal with it, because he's going to be back in week 6. It's all right, well, by the time the playoff comes around, he could be the number 1 wide receiver for Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan offense. That's very much.
Second half. Now again, how quickly, just because he's out there doesn't mean he's going to be productive. He wasn't great before the injury, but you do feel like if he gets back in week 6 and then by week 9 or 10. Yeah. He's back to looking more or less like Brandon Ayuk. Again, also a fairly narrow target tree on what we think is going to be a good offense.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.